Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to share our sunny apartment in Taichung, Taiwan. Actually, this is our office, the second project, because we just set up. And the left-hand side is the typical Taiwan apartment housing plan. You can see that there are 3 rooms with 1 public space and some toilets. But in the bottom of this plan, actually is the park. So all the toilet cover the view of the park. And the original plan, the public space has 2 windows just face to the courtyard. So we try to reorganize the plan. First, we use the geometry like pentagon systems, and to make we have 7 pentagon systems in the new plan, and we still have the 3 private rooms. And because the right-hand side is the south, so in the summertime, the south wind is quite important for the temperature inside. But in the original plan, the wind cannot pass through. But now in the new plan, we have 4 windows, which is open to the outside in the public space. Therefore, the wind can go through very smoothly. So this is the model. So in the public space, we set up the living share space. But the requirement from the family, they want the spaces which is independent but connecting to each other, which means the relationship about their family. So that's our before was the plan strategy. Now it's about the section. We think about in the original flat ceilings, we want to change the effection of the sound by the new shape of the ceiling, which means the reflection can be more differences and create spaces. Therefore, there are 7 curved ceilings assembled into the public space like this. So that's the plan. We can see there are still 3 rooms, but it's separated, and the angles change in the public space, which means the views will be changed, they be controlled. Luckily, we have the chance to do the simulation of the acoustic. Left-hand side is the effection of the flat ceiling. Right-hand side is about the dome ceilings. So we can see the sound will be more average, clearness, and the gallery. The red part is the piano place. And one interesting thing is about the right-hand side. You can see there's a dark blue, which is the kitchen. So the sound comes from the living room, but will not pass to the kitchen because of the shape of the ceiling. Except the simulation, we also do the test after we finished, and the effection is much more better than we expect, which is quite very happy. On the other hand, it's about the construction. To manufacture the digital manufacture about this kind of ceiling, we need to cut each 20 centimeter by CNC. So this is how we assemble each slices, 1 by 1 on site. This is how we finish. We can see there's a gap in between the domes ceilings, which we integrate our lighting systems, air conditioning systems, and also curtain systems inside the gap. After the structure finish, of course, we put on our FG board, which can make the shape of the ceilings. This is how we assemble. So in these pictures, we can see the windows, right? That's why we talk about the wind can come through by these windows, and people can see outside to the park and to the green. So this is how after we finish, this is from the entrance. Yes. This is from the foyer, which we want to create the space. It's like you will not see the whole space in one time. You can see the part of the next space like this from the living room. The hall to the entrance. And that's the client. So especially for the children, this is not only the home; it's not like their playground. So this is the reading room we open to the park. How we can see. I have one small videos wanna share with you.
这个房间有7个穹顶，以5边形切割，进入到新的空间秩序。屋主是一个很在乎美学的一个医生，太太是家庭主妇，还有1儿1女。他希望家人的生活就在这里面，可以大家聚集在一起，产生很好的家庭关系的互动关系。这个房子室内的面积大约有200平米，原本的格局中是标准的3房2厅，3面窗户在房间和卫浴里阻挡了公共空间的光线，于是我们舍弃了传统方正的格局，用7个穹顶，然后5边形的方式把整个平面串联在一起。大门进来就是第1个穹顶，看出去就是窗，视野非常好，整体视觉向外延伸到最远的一个山头跟外面的绿意。第2个穹顶是客厅，紧邻的阳台，大面积的落地窗让阳光直接照到屋里，坐在沙发上就能看到整个房子的空间。往前推进，第3个穹顶是开放式的琴房，一般平面天花板会反射声音，整个空间都会传递，但是穹顶可以产生的聚拢，像是屋主女儿喜欢弹琴，在这个穹顶空间内，声音的回声会产生更好的清晰度，而且也能降低音量，不打扰到邻居。中间用了一个高度不一、曲线形状的沙发来做区分，全家也会在这里听他的演奏会。第4、第5个穹顶是休闲空间和书房，书桌桌板和书柜向飘窗的方向延伸，透过飘窗在房间里面引进光线。那是一个家人聚集的一个很重要的一个空间。爸爸就坐那边用电脑，那小朋友们也会躺在旁边的卧榻区，陪着爸爸们读书或者是聊天。第6个穹顶是餐厅，有时候孩子们在这里写作业，墙面做出一个隐性的咖啡台，空间自然的向厨房延伸。屋主太太也喜欢做饭，长时间会在厨房。厨房就是第7个穹顶，我们用中岛做一个区隔，形成一个开放的空间，视线上看得到料理台，又能够遮挡住冰箱和电器。其实从家里的不管哪个角度看，每个空间都能够露出一点点，但又不会露出全貌。公共空间的流动性和延伸性是我们的第一考量，但3个房间还是以格局方正为主。屋主儿子的房间，我们把衣物收纳设计在床板的后面，然后产生一个回游式的动线。那儿子的个性是外向，喜欢户外，所以他的房间最靠近阳台，还能直接走出去。主卧房是屋主和太太住的，同样有大面积的采光。当初在设计穹顶的设计时，我们给屋主看了设计图。起初屋主觉得这房子太特别了，会担心天花板梁柱都被穹顶包住，会产生的压迫感。考虑了2个月，才决定要这样的设计。屋主住来之后，屋主给我的反应是，他都不想离开这个地方，他希望每天都可以待在这个地方，因为他每个角落都有他自己感受到最好的安全感。
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I thought that was very interesting, the way you described traditional Taichung flats. I've been there, I know what it's like there, it's incredibly hot. For your second project, I think this is really good, very impressive. The problems you identified with the apartment, the traditional Chinese apartment or Taichung apartment, you said daylight views and getting fresh air through, you seem to deal with that very well. And then to go into the science you went into with the acoustics, I thought was really interesting, and to come up with the kind of umbrella to capture the sounds between the spaces. I don't really have a question, I kind of like it. I think it's very good for a first project. Have you been asked to do any more of these?
Announce more.
Any more projects with the same techniques? Or is this just a one-off? This is never again, do you think?
Actually, the first project of ours is much more smaller, and we also want to try, because we are interested in the invisible themes in the space, like sound. So actually, our first project, we try to make the ceiling to change the sound effect in the space, but we don't have the technique about the simulation, and we cannot prove it. But this time is our first time to try and to prove. But it's very, very lucky for us.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. This is truly open plan living, and using the shape of the ceiling to control the acoustics is interesting. Did you consider textures as well as curves and surfaces?
Yeah, actually, in this project, we didn't because even because the area of this flat is 200 square meter, but actually the budget is quite limited. So about the walls and the textures, and we don't have so much effort on it yet. We didn't do it, but I think it's a very good suggest, and we can think more about that in the future projects. Thank you.
And I agree that it's a very exciting first project, and one can't help wondering if you were to do another project like this, would you have been would you take the same total approach to creating these vaults, these umbrella shapes? Could you have done them? Could they have been less extensive, or would you consider? Is it important that it completely obliterated, covered up the original ceiling? It's a total solution. It's absolutely like a skin that covers everything. I'm wondering if you might consider doing it less complete.
I think even during the process, I'm wondering about this also. Should we do so much themes about that? But I'm not sure if the next project we still will do, because the client also asks us, will you do this kind of design in the future or not? I think maybe not, because it took too much of a long time and efforts on it.
Well, I want to be more encouraging than that, and I think you could achieve a similar effect, perhaps with not being quite so total.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, it's very interesting because nowadays the offices are reminding as our homes, and the private houses are going more like public spaces. And for me, this looks like a little bit too perfect to be someone's home. So have you chosen all the furniture, like doing the whole thing, or are the furniture the family's own?
Actually, in Taiwan, especially this kind of a new office, we try to suggest, but the final decision is not by us. But we just give one suggestion. Please select the furniture which can be moved in the space, which means we want to be more flexible. That's what we suggest them. But they still follow our ideas and we still keep the dynamic and the fluidity of the space. So I think we were lucky.
So they didn't bring any old pieces of furniture to this new home?
Yes, they didn't, because they come from other city.
Really, congratulations for this project.
Thank you.
I particularly like the way you resolved the interconnected fluid spaces, but it still function as individual zones. My question is, what is the first thing you experience when you step inside your house, when you come home? We see the central view from the center point of this apartment, but how does this apartment greet its owner when they come home?
And the first, they actually during the design process, they worry about it will feel like living inside a cave. But after they move in, I asked them, so after you move in, how do you feel? He said, I feel, because I cannot see the edge of the ceiling, so that means I will not feel like enclosed too much, but I feel safety.
Safety, yeah.
They feel safety. They seem in the independent corners, and be a little bit enclosed.
Thank you.
I actually liked the idea of a cave, and that was the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this concept, because the cave goes back to a human intrinsic habitation, and that's the reason why they become comfortable, even though it seems like it could be oppressive. My question, I suppose, is the idea of opening it up, creating the public space larger, and having this meandering space, and having the dome, 7 domes, which I think was very clever. I think it's good. And yet when you saw the floor plan, I was really convinced. But when I saw the space here, it seems like you just created a museum. I think you like Sejima. I can probably see that. Because the furniture from Patricia Orquila's B&B to Michael Anastasiadis' Light, it seems so, it's an object that it seems like it's an afterthought, and maybe the stream of light in between the cove creates this museum effect. So you said you want the client to be comfortable, and Chinese cooking, right? The cooking, the idea of not having either glass so the smell will be all over the place, especially with the dome. So I'm just very curious. I mean, acoustically, I think it's just brilliant. And so you managed to convince them to have this, my hats to you. So, but my question is, why the intentional creation of this monumental furniture pieces within a very fluid space? It seems like it's an object. It seems like it's so hard to feel comfortable. Was that your intention?
Okay. But it's quite difficult to answer. But I'd like to remind, this question remind me one thing. Because after just finish, my wife and me just entered and sit down on the sofa and asked her, do you want to live in this space or not? She answered yes. I think, okay, and I answered her, we didn't do too much design.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.